Sego se waguego, Karahkwenhá waksanolda. What one horadon de ize sawayatororo that no what kun horadon Sarah de wasquahungaro ganto ageze ge negadeo wadon agatrori de nigajeha. Thanks everyone for coming here today, and thanks to Sarah for inviting me to be a part of the conference so I can talk to you about how I use technology to support language learning. Pardon me for a second while I adjust this. We had a little bit of trouble getting this to fit here, and it's still not quite being my friend, but so if you cannot see the screen, I would ask that you just position yourself so that you can. So if you are sitting over here and you can't, there's a participatory thing at the end where it will really help you to be able to see. I work at Onkwawenna Kentyohkwa. I teach Ganyangeha online. I have about 50 students who are taking 3 different courses in our program. So we have an introductory course where students learn very basic vocabulary and a few of our prefixes. How many of you are familiar with the root word method? How many of you are not familiar with the root word method? Okay. Those of you who are, bear with me while I show you a little video about what we do at our school. Onkwawenna Kentyohkwa is a local school founded by Ohsweken Deka, who's sitting over there along with Audrey Miracle, and is based on a system devised by Ganada Waka, which where we use particles and bits of information to learn how to put words together. So this is how we teach the language. And doing so, we give students the tools in how to learn for themselves, how to speak for them, how to say something they've never said before, or how to understand something they've never heard before. It allows you to become fluent very quickly. I started learning the language 5 years ago, and it's amazing, the immersion program. By Christmas, you can already speak about your family and say a lot about yourself. It's very innovative in that way. So this is a little video that talks a little bit about that. I'm not sure if this is going to cooperate. There we go. Do we have sound?
Word Rodinossagayu can be translated as they have an old house. At first glance, these words are completely different, and students in other programs learn them as separate and unrelated. But students at Onkwawenna do not learn or see these as whole words. Instead, they are taught the small bits of meaning contained within those words, bits of meaning that we call roots, that have to do with he and she and they, and houses and beds and animals, and nice and old and ugly. The students learn how to assemble these roots into whole words. They also learn how to substitute she for he, and they for she, and bed for house, and animal for bed, and old for nice, and ugly for old. Students learn how to create a large number of words from a small number of roots. For example, in just a few weeks, students learn how to combine 11 prefixes and 70 noun roots and 20 verb roots, a total of 101 roots that can be together combined to create more than 15,000 words. The root word method works because it's much easier and faster to learn 100 roots than it is to learn 15,000 words. In the entire year, students have to learn approximately 600 roots, plus 200 prefixes and suffixes, and the rules for putting them together, and the exceptions. But once they've learned these 800 bits of meaning, students can create literally millions of single words. Students using the root word method then are not remembering words that they've been taught, because it's impossible to teach 1,000,000 words, let alone learn or remember them. Instead, students are learning how to think in the language. They're not trying to remember what someone told them, they're thinking how to say what they want to say. The root word method was first developed by David Ganadawako Miracle and later refined by Onkwawenna. Because Kentyohkwa and other Iroquoian languages share the same grammar and structure, the root word method can easily be used by other language groups. At present, the only other language program using the root word method is the adult immersion program at Tyendinaga.
So that's a little background on what we do, and the reason I want to show you that is so that I can talk about what I do. So the root word method involves learning lots of little pieces of information, and how I use technology and how I teach my students to use technology to support their own language learning is to help them figure out how to get all that stuff in your head. It's a lot of memory work, and I'm going to go from lo-fi to hi-fi with all of the methods that I've been using. So lo-fi is good old-fashioned paper and pen flashcards. So flashcards are a huge part of how I learned the language and how I know a lot of our most successful students have learned the language. So, you know, I have stacks of my own paper flashcards. I used to carry small ones in my wallet that talked about the prefixes, and but there's a downside to paper, and I'm going to get into the hi-fi. You can't put a sound file on a paper flashcard. You can't hear the pronunciation. It only has two sides. And when we get into virtual flashcards or digital flashcards, which you can put on your mobile device, you can use on your computer, you can put sound files on there, you can put digital images on there, and there are some flashcard applications that have infinite number of sides so that you can put different information on every side and learn lots of aspects about one word. So the best program that we have discovered is called Anki. Anki is a digital flashcard program, and this link might take me a minute to get to, but it allows you to put in your information, and what you need to do is go to this website here and download the program. You can also get it for your smartphone, either Android or iPhone, and that might not be working to get to the website, but this is what Anki looks like on your computer, the desktop client. So I'll show you how one of the decks looks.
Tiega.
Tiega. Nahoda gando. What does tiega mean? Anybody know? That. Okay, let's see. Oh, you were right. So you can see at the bottom there, there's three things you can choose. You can choose that, was that easy for you? Was that okay? Or do you need to test yourself again? And you'll test yourself again in 1 minute. So Anki relies on what they call spaced repetition. Spaced repetition just means that you're going to work out in the space of time how you're going to study. And memory relies on forgetting. That's what the theory about spaced repetition is. So if you want to see another card.
Gigo.
Gigo. Nahoda gondo ne gigo. This, huh? Oh, I was right. Okay. So I'm going to put easy for that, and that says it's not going to test me again for 4 days. So once you have a really huge deck of cards, hundreds or thousands of cards in your deck, that 4 days might turn into, a year. You might not be tested on that word for a whole year. So it works with how you tell the program how well you know those words. So it'll work with you and test you, and it'll tell you like, oh, you have to study again today. So it's a really brilliant program, and I'll show you in a little bit how to add cards, but that's one of the, oh, there it is. That's what Anki looks like online. So Anki Web is where you would go to add new cards and sync your decks. It's a bit of a complicated thing, and if you're interested in this program, then there's lots of tutorials on their site on how to use it. The other program that I use in my class on my class is this one called Quizlet. And the reason why I like Quizlet is because it's really easy to share with a group of people. So I have instant access to giving 50 or 100 people the same deck, and then they can all get it on their phone instantly. And if I make changes, they don't even really notice about it. So if you're a teacher, you can use that and give it to a whole class. So I have several classes in my Quizlet group. So if you look here, study sets, here's a class that I'm currently teaching. Introduction to Karahkwenhá. So these are all the card sets that are in that particular class. And they're on their last week right now. Do I have any students here from my class online? Onkwawenna. Oh, nahoda yezayat. Audra, Sego. Audra and I have emailed and have never met in person, so she's a very good student. We could even look up on here if she's studying or not. Oh, I see you haven't logged in a while. So Quizlet is great that way because I can check up on my students. If you didn't know that, I can. And see what they're getting right and what they're having trouble with, and if they're studying. And then I know in my coursework, like if somebody is having trouble, I can look in and see like, oh, actually they have never looked at their flashcards. So that's a good indicator as to why somebody might be having trouble. The thing with the root word method and everything that we can do with technology, we can give somebody all of these tools, but what I like about this is that it puts the onus on the individual to learn the language. Like whether you're in an immersion class or in a master apprentice situation or you're learning online, ultimately you have to do something to teach yourself. So the thing with learning online is that you kind of have to do all of it yourself. We can give you an app, we can give you stacks of flashcards, but it's up to you to go for it. Quizlet has a whole bunch of activities on here that I really like. You can punch in all of your cards, and then it'll break them up and give you different activities to do. This is an activity that I really like. It's called Speller. So aget nistaha. What it wants you to do is type in how to write that out. And I push enter, and it says I was right. Erhard. Now watch what happens if I do it that wrong. Let's say I go Erhard. Oh, that's wrong. And then it corrects you.
Erhard.
And then it makes you do it until you get it right. And what if I did it wrong again?
Erhard.
Oh, now I know. Okay. So there's lots of fun little games on here. So it gives you a little bit of, looks like you're on a small screen. Okay. So that's something that happens just because I'm connected to a projector right now. But also another thing you can do is just to make yourself feel really nervous for the fun of it, you can make yourself some tests. So it'll give you 5 written questions, 5 matching questions, and it formulates these pretty good tests actually on what cards you've entered. So it likes it. It likes it. Which one would I choose here? C, okay. See, some people know. Check answers. I didn't answer most of the things, but let's see the one thing I did answer. Correct. Okay. So that is Quizlet. So we use Quizlet in my online course, and I used it actually myself when I was learning in the immersion course as well. I made myself lots and lots of decks. I'll show you in a little while. A fellow named Gabe Weiner came to visit our class a couple of years ago. This is a polyglot, a guy who's learned tons of languages all on his own, largely by using the internet and making virtual flashcards. And he has this website called Fluent Forever. He's got a book by the same name, and we really like his methodology in terms of like. He taught himself Hungarian in 2 months or something like that, ridiculous like that. So I would love for him to come to Six Nations and come to Onkwawenna Kentyohkwa and just let him go at it. But his website is really informative. There's this really great thing on his website called 8 Ways to Create Better Flashcards. Now, whether you're making them on paper or whether you're making them virtual, there's some really good tips here about how to use pictures, not just about using pictures and why that's important, but like different ways to use them. And for example, like a card, this kind of card here, where on the front says chien in French, on the back has a picture of un chien, and then what the proper, what do you call this word? Particle? Okay. See, I'm not a linguist. So what that is called is a comprehension card. And on this type of card, a production card, would have you see the picture and then have to name what that is. So there's a different process that happens in your mind depending on what is on the front of your card and what is on the back of your card, whether or not there's a sound file. So there's different things that happen in your brain. And so different tips and stuff like that. So if you're in the habit of making flashcards, which if you're learning language, you should be. There's some great tips on here and stuff that I was reading over last night, and I kind of went, oh, that would be helpful. So there's, I think the concept of language learning is never ending, really. The thing with the flashcards is that you can be given a set of flashcards. I could give you my thousands of flashcards that I've made, but you won't learn anything. Most of the learning happens when you're actually making the flashcards. So much of it happens when you're making the flashcards that I have decks that I've never actually studied because I didn't need to after I actually made them. Now, I've lost my ability to be, oh wait, no, there it is, okay. Okay, now once you have started building a vocabulary and started getting all of those prefixes and whatnot into your mind, the next step that I did was start making a lot of verb charts. And paper verb charts are really good exercise to do. This is an exercise I give to my online students, is filling out this blank verb chart. So they have to fill out what the prefix is, how to conjugate it, and then what the translation is. And they're provided with the answer sheet so that they can self-assess. Now, I want to show you a little tool I made myself. This is a video that Megan General made in our video project we did last summer. So this is a little Verb Maker machine that I made, and this was to help myself learn how to conjugate verbs. So I have the actual thing here, but this is the video we made about it. So there's these little magnets we stuck on a metal board, and I made these CDs that are double-sided. So they're labels that I made in Photoshop, and on one side is the blue prefix, on the other side is the red prefix, and then you can stick the verb root in the middle. So red on one side and blue on the other side. And there's my little nerdy little set of CDs. So once again, it was super fun to make it. And I have all the little magnets in here. That was my second prototype. My early prototype was made of paper. And there's these little discs that spin around, and it wasn't very user-friendly. So the metal one on the CDs spins a lot nicer on the metal. And there's all these little magnets in my nerdy little bag here. Super fun to make. I never actually used it because once I made it, I didn't need to. The next Verb Maker I just made recently is something that you could, if you're a teacher in grade school or if you have kids at home or something, I kind of imagine it would be a fun project to make with people to sort of get them using their hands to make something. But this is another Verb Maker I've made. And these are just those little plastic eggs that I bought at Party City. And maybe they're on sale now because Easter just finished. But this one works like this, where you spin. And the prefixes are on one side and the roots are on the other side. And I was too excited to play with them. So the Sharpie has started to wear off. But I'll pass these around if you want to just have a look at them and play with them. And I was devising a little system for how to incorporate the exceptions as well on there, and I think I figured it out. So, sorry, I'll just pass those around. Somebody else can put that together. So those are lo-fi because they're all tactile things, and you don't have to be a computer savvy to know how to make any of those things. The hi-fi version of some of these takes those verb charts and verb conjugation one step further. And one of the ways that I use that concept is in my online course. And I don't like this. So this is their online course. This is Unit 2. What unit are you in now, Audra? Okay. So right now we have introductory course, Unit 1 and Unit 2. So this is a little glance at the Unit 2 interactive textbook. So the online course is now following the material that is offered in our immersion course. It follows the same material. And what we're doing is digitizing the texts and creating exercises and adding videos and making everything as interactive as possible. So this is the text that's offered in our coursework in the immersion course, but it now has interactive elements to it. So when you drag your mouse over, you can see like little words, little tips here, like how to work with the file, and then these little grammar things. So the exceptions to do with verbs beginning with Y or H indicate that the wiki disappears on the prefix wage. So we get waksmas and wagenderdi, not wageyenderdi or wagesmas. So, and then we have each word has a sound file attached.
Te yagyada de nues. Karahkwenhá. Te yagyadatsmas.
So you can see, I'm not sure if you can see on the board there, the when it's not connected to a projector, you can actually see the translation of those words in this little square. And then each of these sound files is downloadable so that you can then go and add a sound file to your flashcards. So let's take a look at I'm just going to this page because I know this page works. Okay, so let's say we wanted to make a flashcard for this word here.
Rakchikaha.
I'm going to download that word. And I'm going to go over to my Anki. I'm going to type, we've created this template for our Anki card. So Anki comes with a sort of default template. But if you're interested in using Anki, we could send you this template if you shot us a little email. And it has the Ganyangeha on one side, Ohsweken on the other side, and then you can add in a sound file. There's my sound file. It's going to
Rakchikaha.
So I'm going to add that card. And if I wanted to, I could, if I had an older brother, maybe I would add a photo of my actual older brother right there, where it says Gayaderde. That means photo. I don't, so I'm not going to do that. So I just added that card to this deck. So it's as easy as that.
Onka.
Now, that's again with the Anki. So that's a little bit of our course. I showed you Quizlet. This is how we use Quizlet in our introductory course. We don't use Quizlet in our Unit 1 and so on courses because we like for our students to make the cards themselves, because so much of the learning, once again, happens when you make your own cards. So this is what a lesson page would look like in the introductory course. Quizlet is built right in, and you can choose a study mode. We can go on that speller one that I like. Type what you hear.
Ronues.
There. So that's how we use Quizlet in the course, and that's a little look at our course. The interactive.
Saha.
Oops. Talk more about it, it's saying. Okay. So the interactive textbook that I showed you is through a site that I use called ThingLink. And each page of the interactive textbook involves separately creating that page in the first place, and then utilizing three other different applications. It's an immense amount of work, but worth it once you get it all going, and I think it can be a resource that can last for a really long time. So I use an application called SoundNote, which is right in the computer, and it allows me to record those little MP3s. And I upload those to an application called SoundCloud, which is free, which allows me to keep a bank of sound files up to a maximum amount. I can't remember how many gigs, but I plan to just create a new profile when I run out of room. And then from there, then you go on ThingLink and you make a little box and put like where you want to have a button, and then you attach your link to that sound file on there. So each word involves a multi-step process, and it's a big pain, and I wish I had help, but the students are really enjoying it. Wahi, Audrey. So ThingLink, that's become an important part of the course. Now, another part of the course, is videos. I'm a filmmaker. That's how I sort of came into doing this job, really, is utilizing all the skills I've gained in the sort of outside of my life, and that's making little movies. And one app I wanted to show you, but we couldn't quite get the iPad connected, is an app called Video Lab. And that's an app you can put on your iPhone. There's a similar app available for Androids, and it's free or very cheap. There's a free version, and then the very cheap version, which lets you do a few more things, is only it's less than $2. But you can film a video and add other videos to it and edit it and chop it down and crop it and expand it and add titles, and it's all very intuitive, and you just tap around and figure it out, and then you can upload it to YouTube or save it or whatever you want to do. Another app that I use a lot in creating videos for my course is called Adobe Voice, and that's for the iPad. And I'll show you a little video that Megan made. Actually, Megan General and was working with me last summer creating videos for our summer video project at Onkwawenna Kentyohkwa. We have a YouTube channel where we have dozens and dozens of little videos we've made to help people grasp concepts in the language and whatnot. So this is a video.
Hello, my name is Megan, and I'm going to be explaining stresses, accents, and pronunciation. This is a short stress. A short stress is pronounced a little louder, a little punchier, with a slightly rising tone. We use a short stress when the vowel being stressed is followed by 2 or more consonants, or by the letter H.
So it's just a little look at that video. But that video took you how long, would you say, to make? An hour? An hour going, maybe we were having coffee and gossiping at the time. But it's actually pretty fast to use. You just tap, and there's pictures already loaded in there, and there's music already loaded in there. It's very easy to use. Here's a look at our YouTube channel so you can see just how much stuff we have on here. There's movies that teach purposive aspects, channels about how we do and what we do, lots of videos about prefixes and locationals and counting, etc. Music videos, those have been very popular, the music videos. All of our Star Wars collection, which has also been very popular. Our Mohawk trash compactor scene just showed at the Mother Tongue Film Festival in Washington, D.C. That is put on by the Smithsonian, and it won a contest at the Toronto International Film Festival last year, and the one we made before that, another Star Wars film, showed in its entirety on the APTN National News, which I think meant they had a slow news day, but it got to be very popular, so which was lots of fun. And I think that what that has done, making those sort of silly videos, has attracted some people to come to our program and see that it can be fun and that it's accessible, and it's not just for ceremonial purposes. I firmly believe that if our languages had not been attacked, that we would have television shows and that they would be part of everyday life in the way that English is, that we'd have everything the same. So now I talked about a couple of ways to make easy little movies. We've finished our first big production through Onkwawenna Kentyohkwa, and that's Goldilocks Statnu Ogwari, and that movie we made just I think last year, and we made that through a grant from the Ontario Arts Council and the Department of Canadian Heritage, and with Big Soul Productions based in Toronto. Sort of a big production. We had a little crew for what I'm thinking of, but it was more than just me and a camera this time. We had actual lights and people and proper cameras and stuff like that. So it had its world premiere in California at the American Indian and Indigenous Film Festival in San Diego, and also screened in Washington at that film festival I just spoke of. And a few days ago, screened in New Zealand at the Māoriland Film Festival, which I was blessed to attend. I'm severely jet lagged right now. And we'll also screen this summer in Santa Fe at the Native Cinema Showcase put on by the National Museum of the American Indian. I've found that like film festivals and viewers are just super hungry for anything in our languages, and especially stuff that's fun. And this was a really fun little project. It speaks to going back to your traditions, and it speaks to how colonization has impacted our languages, but it also is funny. So I want to show you one way of, how we can put that video out there, but also how we can get more out of those videos that are pre-existing. This is a cool website that I haven't yet gotten to use in my coursework, but I plan to make use of it. This is a site called Zaption, and it's free. And here's an example of what you can do with Zaption. So you can take any YouTube video and sign up for Zaption and do something like this. So this is a little look at our movie and at what you can do with stuff like this. So the movie will play, and you can build in some questions, and it'll pause automatically, and it'll ask the viewer the question that you asked. So the question is, Onkwawenna Kentyohkwa. So I already typed in the answer there. So Goldilocks agotnistaha. I almost wrote Goldilocks rotnistaha. So I'm going to submit that answer, and then it keeps going. So, so the question was, what does she want? And the answer is smokes, tobacco. Correct. So you can also put in feedback for each response. So wahi wa ironji daknino zera neo yangwa. So translate, did he hear something? So your student or your viewer can then just type in a translation. So you can use this software to reinforce anything you want, like how to conjugate a verb or how to translate something, or formulate any kind of question you want. So and you can choose either one. There are multiple choice questions on here. There are numerical questions. There are just type in your own kind of answer. And then there's this fun one, which is you can draw on the screen. So I put a thing that says "Shararas neo guardi gaiduni." So draw a teddy bear. So then you can use your mouse and make a little picture. So what that does, I don't know. Maybe comprehension, something. It was just a fun thing to try anyway. So that's a little look at Zaption. I'm excited to use that in our course. And it will actually let you go in and see how your students are performing on there and look at how they responded and, check out what they're understanding on there. And another thing you can do, like, that's sort of independent learning if people are learning at home, or maybe you want to make one for yourself and share it with your friends or whatnot. But here's what you might be able to do in a classroom or with a group of people. If you have a smartphone on you, you can go right now to zaption.com/join. I'll let you do that for a moment. And we can play a game together. So if you go to zaption.com/join, and then it'll prompt you to enter this code here, 7AH3U. And I'll get a little hands up when you're joined. Hey, Dad, where's your iPhone? Okay, Sarah, you're in there? Okay, got one in there. Tell me I'll have more than one player. Okay, we have some players. Okay, so I'm going to start.
Brian Nii, Unka Nize.
So, Unka Nize, you should see a question pop up on your device, and you can respond to that question. Now it's showing me I have some responses coming in. 4 responses. I'm going to look at those. Somebody's carry, somebody's question mark. 9 people are responding. And it might, oh, there we go. So here to, excellent. You are all correct. Oops.
Audrey Nii. Brian Gonize.
Brian Nii.
So the question is Brian Gahneroha. We have some answers coming in. So this is like how you, if you have, you could see how you could play this game with more advanced speakers or reinforce really beginner language, and just a fun break maybe to do in your class. And nowadays, more and more people have one of these silly devices. But okay, more and more people have joined. So here's some answers. Audrey Neaga, yeah, Brian Dega, Brian Neroha, Roha Ne Brian. So I might have to spend some time teaching you guys.
Audrey Gonize.
Audrey Nii. Unka Ne Brian.
E Ne Brian. Unka Ne Audrey.
Ne Audrey.
Unka Ne Audrey is the question. Oh, and it looks, I have a viewer question. Oh, somebody said, good. It's more feedback, I think, than question. Nyawa. I don't know how to get back to my thing here. Disable viewer question. So
Izego Ne Brian.
So that's a little look at Zaption and how you can have fun with it together and as a group. Thanks for playing. There is no prize. So I talked a lot about various apps that you might want to check out on your own or with your class if you teach one. Or I'm hoping that there are something in there for everybody, whether you're a learner or a teacher or of any language. These are some of the resources I listed. The flashcard apps are Anki and Quizlet, and the advice about how to make great flashcards is at fluentforever.com. There's a hyphen in the middle of Fluent Forever. Movie-related apps, there's our Onkwawenna Kentyohkwa YouTube channel. If you can't remember how to spell Onkwawenna Kentyohkwa, you can find it quickly by searching Mohawk Star Wars, and it'll be the first thing that pops up. Video Lab, that's the free/cheap app where there's a similar one that exists for Android. I'm sorry, I can't remember what it's called, but if you look up Video Editor Maker or whatever in the Google Play Store, you'll find something similar. Adobe Voice for iPad is also free and awesome. Zaption.com is that free web-based tool that we just looked at. You just punch in a YouTube link and play with a video. And then you can share them. I would love to see if people want to make stuff and share them on Facebook or whatever, like whatever anybody else makes. I'm dying to see you make an egg and a Verb Maker and whatnot. Like the best thing to do about learning is to make stuff for yourself. The course apps, we use Schoology as our online platform to teach our courses, and ThingLink is that website I showed you about how to stick on interactive links, and you can stick photos on there and links to anything really, videos, sound files, anything, also free. For more information or to register for our online course, you can go to our website at onkwawenna.info or send us an email at onkwawenna@gmail.com. So, tok niiga nyala, sewa kuega.